Bottom line, the Samsung Q70R is one really good premium but not too expensive 4K HDR TV for mixed use. It's a particularly strong performer when it comes to 4K or HDR gaming, or gaming of any kind for that matter. And as a home theater TV, it's an excellent choice for anyone who hasn't already been spoiled by something much more expensive. Or maybe by OLED technology. The Q70R also competes really well against nearly every rival 4K TV in the same or similar price range, particularly Sony's alternatives such as the X950G. What we liked about the Q70R. There is a ton to like about the Samsung Q70R. And this applies especially for buyers who have never before owned a premium 4K Ultra HD TV with HDR before. This edition delivers strong performance on nearly every important metric of performance and is also laden with lots of special features such as variable refresh rate for gaming smoothness. In basic terms, while not being priced very heavily, the Q70R has just enough premium performance to be great at what it does. The following key good things illustrate what we mean. Gaming connectivity. The single best part of the Q70R's performance is its gaming connectivity. This particular 4K HDR TV delivers superbly low input lag for most combinations of frame rate, resolution, color specs and high dynamic range, while also offering AMD FreeSync technology for tier-free variable refresh rate gaming on PCs with AMD GPUs or on Xbox One editions. The VRR tech in the TV works with all major resolutions, including 1080p, 1440p and even 4K, though at 4K resolution it's limited to just 60 Hz due to a lack of HDMI 2.1 connectivity, see below. Overall, the gaming input performance of this TV combined with its really rich display specs makes the Q70R into one ideal gamer's TV, for PC or console. Note that the 49-inch edition of the Q70R does not support AMD FreeSync variable refresh rate tech. Strong brightness. The Q70R doesn't manage to get nearly as bright as Samsung's flagship QLED TV. The Q90R, and it doesn't even quite match the Q80R on luminosity. But this model still outputs plenty of strong brightness for both HDR and SDR content. and its peak brightness when being used with HDR movies or other video sources is especially strong. It's an above-average performer as far as brightness goes. Motion handling. The motion handling of the Q70 QLED TV is nearly as good as that of the Q90R and Q80R QLED editions. Which is to say that it comes close to being perfect. In fact, in terms of pixel response time for low motion blur during fast-paced content, the Q70R very slightly outdoes the Q80R according to our measurements. In addition to this, it also performs wonderfully at motion interpolation of almost all sources of content played at frame rates below its native 120 Hz display. On all models except the 49-inch edition, which only offers a 60 Hz display. Contrast and black rendering. A further feature that the Q70R particularly excels at is delivery of deep, rich black levels and strong black uniformity. It doesn't have the same quality of local dimming as Samsung's pricier QLEDs for 2019, but what it does offer is decent. In other words, it's still an excellent performer, and its contrast ratio is in fact quite a bit higher than that of any other 2019 QLED TV except the Q90R flagship edition. That's right, oddly enough. The Q70R delivers better contrast than the pricier Q80R. Overall HDR delivery. While the color delivery of the Q70R is generally inferior to that offered by the QLED Q90R and Q80R editions, it's still great and well above average. This TV delivers especially strong HDR wide color gamut and decent 10-bit color gradation. Most importantly, these features blend with the above features such as strong black levels, high brightness and high contrast to deliver an excellent general HDR experience in the Q70R. For 4K HDR Netflix and Blu-ray movies. Or for HDR gaming, the Q70R excels. What we didn't like. While we think there's plenty to like about Samsung's Q70R QLED Ultra HD TV, this edition does also have its share of minor to slightly moderate flaws. We don't consider any of them at all to be serious deal breakers, but this particular QLED TV edition is definitely not quite as close to high excellence as the Samsung Q80R manages to be, or a comparably priced OLED 4K HDR TV from LG. Here are the notable defects of the Q70. Local dimming weakness. The Q70R has local dimming technology, and this alone is an improvement over what Samsung used to offer for many of its lower-tier QLED TVs in previous years. Furthermore, the local dimming in this model doesn't work nearly as poorly as we've seen in other TVs with the technology included. That said though, the technology isn't nearly as robustly precise and sharp as we saw its delivery in the Q80R or the Q90R. Or even a rival edition TV like the Sony X950G. This isn't a major flaw, but it's notable when compared to these rival alternatives. Color performance details. Overall, the color performance of the Q70 QLED TV is really quite good. We mentioned this above, and this television delivers fully robust color gamut coverage and other features such as 10-bit color, as well as vibrant general color rendering for normal content. However, compared to many rival 4K TVs, the Q70R does fall a bit flat. Its 10-bit color in particular shows some visible banding for HDR movie color gradations, and its capacity for rendering of vibrant colors during scenes with high brightness is only modestly decent. No HDMI 2.1 and still no Dolby Vision support. Two things that still annoy us a bit about Samsung's 4K HDR TVs, and this applies to all of the 2019 editions, is that they continue to lack Dolby Vision HDR support. We know that there really isn't much Dolby Vision 4K HDR content out there anyhow, at least for now, but considering how great the QLED TVs in particular are at delivering HDR specs, having Dolby Vision would be awesome too. The second annoying thing is a lack of HDMI 2.1 support. Almost no current commercial 4K content offers frame rates above 60 Hz, so this doesn't really matter for movies but for gaming. The Q70R would be great if it also had support for 4K video at above 60 Hz. Given its support for AMD FreeSync technology and its native 120 Hz display. Weak audio. Finally, we come down to the audio power of the Q70R. Like the Q80R, this TV delivers what could only be called modest native sound power. Bass is weak and audio distortion occurs at high volumes. The Q70R delivers very decent audio for casual TV watching, but if you want a truly deep bass and volume-rich surround sound experience for your favorite sportscasts or movies, you'll need an external speak system or sound bar. Thanks for watching and subscribe.